Mark Fuller, Free World Order. Popped on real quick. Uh, what would happen if everything was given to everyone for free? Think about that for a minute. It sounds like a ridiculous idea to most people because it's so far outside of the paradigm that they have been brought up in and the environment and the value system that they were raised in, that it just doesn't make sense to most people. But consider the perspective that I'm giving you on this. Right now, we live in the age of capitalism, free market enterprise. The social structure that we live in is one that's based on your status in the society according to how much money you have, how much wealth you have accumulated. But the distribution of wealth is not one that is on a level playing field. So it's just like how a casino was set up, where the house is designed to always win. So unless you're part of the house or connected to the house in some way, you don't stand a chance at all. And people are living this and they don't even realize that they're living it, let alone having the wherewithal to try to change it. So that's why the free world order is so important, because I'm here to raise the bar on getting information out to people to consider and to think about, so that they can see that there is an inherent built-in problem with the system that we're all using and are a part of. And with that, there's also a solution to the problem. And it's not from within the system at all. You can't solve any problems that the system has with any part of the system itself, with the exception, of course, of raising money to use for something else outside of the system. But aside from that, you can't fix the problems that the system creates from within the system. You can't do it. You got to go outside of the system, meaning you have to move into the alternative. But anyway, so listen. So often I hear people, say, well, everyone's created equal and there's equal opportunity. All of that is a lie. People are not created equal, because if you were created equal when you were born, you would be born into a family that already has an existing standard of living, not one that may or may not be struggling to survive in the system that we're in already. So really, depending on the status of the family that you're born into will determine what your environment will be like. It'll determine what your standard of living is like, what type of information you're exposed to, how well you eat, how well your education is, how well your environment and your upbringing is, what type of house you live in, or what type of apartment you live in, what type of neighborhood and community you live in, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know that that's not the case, so all of that is bullshit. Throw it out the window. All men are not created equal. Period. So, now that we know that, what is it that we're actually living? What is this thing that we're living in, where you need money to attain anything? Money represents the ultimate value in our society. What is it that we're doing? Like, what is it? Money corrupts everyone. The system itself is the cause of the problems, but you think that it's people that's the cause of the problems. You can't blame people for the environment that they were brought into, the same way that you can't blame the racist for being a racist. You can't blame me for being a black person. I was born a black man. My skin is black. I can't blame a Caucasian for being a Caucasian. That's what you were born. But the value system that you're brought up in, that is what we have to consider as human beings. That we all collectively have to raise the value of the values that we're brought up in, so that we outgrow the need for the things that are holding us back collectively as human beings. I try not to get too deep into these conversations, but it's very difficult sometimes because I can see it so clear, and I try to put it out a little bit at a time for people to understand it, so that you're not bombarded with the information. But the bottom line is, if you give things away to people that they need, you eliminate the majority of the problems that we have experienced in the society that we live in. Just think about what some of the problems are. Scarcity is definitely a problem. There's not enough money, right? Not enough money, but there is enough food. We waste so much food in America. They said that the amount of food that we waste in 1 year can feed the rest of the world. The amount of food we throw out can literally feed everyone else on the planet that is starving and dying from hunger and starvation. Now, that's a very powerful and eye-opening statistic, because what that's telling you is that it's not that we don't have the resources and the means to feed everyone, to house everyone, to clothe everyone, and to provide everyone with a high standard of living. It's not that. What it is that there's not enough money to go around. So it's the money, the monetary system, that is holding us back from being able to allow everyone to experience a life of abundance. So it's obvious that money is the problem. The monetary system is the problem. And the system is creating all of the problems, for the most part, that we experience within society. But then we are punishing people for basically being a product of the environment that they are raised in. Just like, for example, if people are raised in impoverished conditions, people that are raised in the suburbs, live in a nice house, grow up in a nice neighborhood, never understand or really can relate to the people that are growing up in the inner city where it's poor, where they don't have much. They don't have the same exposure to the same amount of education, or level of education, I should say. They don't have the same exposure to, different things in general, the arts, traveling. Even something as small as going to an amusement park. There are people in the inner city, neighborhoods that have never been to one. There are people that have grown up in their neighborhood and they've never been outside of their neighborhood the entire life. And again, it's not necessarily because, they don't take advantage of opportunities when they, have them. They don't always have the same opportunities, for one. And for two, it's a cultural environment issue. If you're raised in an environment that already functions and operates a certain way, you really have to be a very strong willed person to think outside of that, and to even think that there's anything possible outside of that, because you only know what your environment is telling you. You only can relate to and live out that which you have been taught by your environment and by your culture. Aside from that, you got to step outside of your environment in order to see anything more than your environment. You see what I'm saying? So, if that is the case, then we already know what would happen if you gave everything to everyone for free. If people didn't have to pay for things, they now can be free to do that which everyone should be able to do, which is be free. Think about how much crime would be eliminated if everyone had access to all that they need as far as food and a nice place to live, clothes. Just think about that. And why are we even paying for things in the first place? It's like, why do we have to earn a living by working on a job? Because now it becomes a situation where the earnings from your job determine where you can live. So you're restricted at all times within this system, because the amount of money that you earn or put your hands on determines everything. It determines what type of clothes you can wear. It determines what type of lifestyle you can live. It determines whether you can have a car or not. It determines whether you can take trips or not. It determines where you can live, what type of neighborhood you can go to, what type of health care you'll receive, what type of education you'll receive. If all of these things are made available to everyone for free, you immediately eliminate, I would say, 99% of the problems. The other 1% is just the inherent built-in indoctrination that so many people have already been exposed to that has to be undone. But the other 99% is from the simple fact that people don't have access to the things that they need in life, the bare essentials. And I'm not even talking about just basic stuff. The amount of technology and information and science and discovery that we have arrived at this point in time, right now, 2017, we're at a high level of information and technology that can be used to produce abundantly for every person. Not where you're just surviving, but you're living a very high standard of living. We have the ability to do that with technology right now without the use of money. Think about it. Think about it. Buildings are going up every day. Skyscrapers are continuously being built. New York City, Dubai, all of these different places where there's a lot of money flowing. All of these buildings are going up. Well, if they have the buildings to go up, that means that they have the materials. Where are the materials coming from? Where are these resources coming from? Is it coming from money? It's not coming from money. Money is just giving them access. It's coming from the planet. So we have the information, we have the resources, we have the technology, we have the people capable of expanding the technology and producing the best of the best as far as healthcare, education, real estate and places to live, designs. I mean, it's incredible. Just you can get a glimpse of it on television. Look at all of the ability that they have to create movies that look real. They're using all of these special effects. All of this technology is already here, man. It's here already. Give everything to everyone for free. That's what the free world order is about. We already have what we need. We need to get rid of the money. The money is keeping us back. It's holding us back. The more time that you spend in working on a job to try to earn a living and survive within this current system, that's time that you could be spending actually using your brain and contributing to the whole of humanity, figuring things out, being creative. You can't be creative when you're worrying about paying your cable bill. You're not being creative when you're worrying about paying your mortgage. You're worrying about not getting evicted out of your apartment because you lost your job last week. And now you got to be concerned with, not having enough money to pay your bills for the month. You're worrying about getting kicked out of your apartment in the next couple of months. Or you might be somebody in a third world country where you don't have access to basic health care. You die from a disease that we get immunity shots for. We got vaccinations for the disease that a lot of people are dying from in third world countries. Children. People starving to death. Come on, man. You need to wake up, man, for real. All right, I'm out. I could do this shit all day. I pop on here and I make these videos, and it is what it is. Whatever comes out, comes out. Mark full of Free World Order. Make sure that you can contribute. Subscribe. Get yourself a monthly contribution plan, even if it's only for $1 a month. Every dollar counts. We're looking to raise $1 billion so that we can get this first city built. with the direction of the Venus Project. Check out thevenusproject.com so you can see what I'm talking about. Free World Order. Support. All right, Mark Fuller. I'm out. Deuce.